Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Let's jump right into it here. I've got just a little bit different layout here. I've included the tabs, several tabs that I've got open here. So I've noticed in some of those past videos when I go up to the top and I'm clicking to some of these, they're kind of cut off. So on this one, I'm going to include those just so you can kind of see how to utilize some tabs. Sometimes it takes more than one tab just to really be efficient in your browser. Instead of having to click all over the place, just have a few different tabs opened up. The first one that I've got open here is just the market review tab for the layout setup, and then the second one is the two chart setup. This is the kind of the primary format that I like. It's the most similar to the legacy TradersPro software, and really is the most effective for what we're trying to accomplish here. So what I want to do is I want to just continue to help you get familiar with this layout, and then also talk a little bit about this screen setting, and then also the Discord channel. So again, one of the processes that we're going through as you're coming into the Discord server, think of the Discord server again as just your housing location for all of your content, for where to go from here, and be like, oh yeah, where was this screen? Or now where were the indicators? Or where were the ideas? Or now what's the methodology? Okay, this is kind of the starting point. If you start here and get lost, I've got these set up so you've got step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and be like, and then even down here. So, oh, okay, yeah, where am I starting? Go back to the starting point. What have you done on this list? What have you not done on that list? Do you understand the methodology? Have you added the indicators? Okay, you're going to go in here, and so this is really the functionality to this. Now, the wheel methodology is the strategy here. There is more information there saying, okay, this is our portfolio management, where we're adding this, where our stop levels are and such. So that is additional information that you can also access in there. But other than that, it's really just the starting point of where can I go out. Obviously, you don't need some of this if you just want to save it in your own location and kind of create your own area for some kind of a bookmarks, or however you want to do that. But in this case, Discord works fantastic for this. It is essentially replacing the learning center so that you can log in first thing. Where am I going? Oh, okay, I'm going to go into Discord. I'm going to check to see if there's anything there, or I'm going to go into Discord so that I can access my screener, I can access my chart layout, whatever that case may be. From there, then you're going to go out to, again, this top-down approach. What is my top-down approach? Market review tab gives you that big picture. Here's your daily time frame. Here's your 1 hour time frame. And what we're looking for is where are we at in this trend? Are we at the upper end of the trend? Are we in the middle of the trend, or are we at the bottom of a trend? And then from there, we go into the allocation. How are we managing our trades based on what the market is giving us? Okay, we can't force anything on the market. It just does what it does. It's going to move, and we've got to determine how are we going to participate in its current movement. Can we anticipate where it's going? Can we anticipate where it's not going? Okay, that's very, very hard to do in terms of predicting the future. Okay, nobody can do it. But what we can do is we can look to see where are we at. What are some of the biases? Where are we at in the trend? What are some characteristics that we should be seeing at this level in the trend? Should we be getting our hopes up when we have a weekly chart on the S&P 500 that looks like this? Okay, we're at the upper end of this trend. Should we anticipate more upside from here based on where we're at in this trend? Based on history, we'll look back 20 years and see where we at in this overall trend. Okay, just looking at this chart, is there a high probability that we run to 8,000 from 5,000? Okay, I don't know, but it's simply just the probabilities are the fact the market is in the upper end of this trend. It typically does not sustain, and now we're looking for a little bit of a retracement. What do we do from that? Would we be 100% invested in equities if we know that the top end of the trend is getting kind of wide? You got to decide that, okay? As for me, no, I'm maybe 20% in equities or less, and the rest in cash, okay? We're just at the upper end of this range. So market conditions are determining how we're managing our risk, or how we're managing the overall risk of individual stocks or cash, okay? And for the most part, those are the two focuses that we're focused on. We're focused on how many holdings do we have? What's the position size of those holdings? And then where's our stop loss? Or are we sitting mostly in cash? In most cases, we're not going to be looking to go aggressively bearish. Okay, it just adds one more level of complexity, which most people are just not very good at. Trying to say, oh yeah, we're at the top of this bullish trend, we're going to go bearish. Okay, instead of saying, how are we managing the risk of our bull market, and is that bull market fading, and should we be paying attention to that? That's essentially what we're trying to focus on here now. That is this setting. And again, these settings, just as you're going back into your Discord, you think, well, how do I get this? How do I set up this chart? If you go back to Discord, go under your chart layouts, this is the market analysis. If I were to click on this, and it's going to bring me out here, and now on this drop down here, it can say make a copy. If I click on make a copy, now you can save market review, that chart setting, to your TradingView layout. Okay, so it's already done for you. It takes 2 clicks to be able to set up this layout. Now, the screens down at the bottom, that's a different setting. It's not going to update those screens. So when you click on this screen button, again, this drop down, this bottom is where the screener is found. There's some other things here. The paper trading and the stock screener are really the only two that we're going to be utilizing at this time. So the stock screener, you click that, it opens it up, and it's going to give you the settings. Your filter are over here. Now the filters for this screen setting, if you go to Discord, if you go to screens, okay, now we're looking for the screener on the chart. That's the one that we're looking at right here. Okay, these are the screeners on the chart settings, and those settings are in Discord, and they are under one of these Google Docs. So in the Google Doc, if you open that up, it's going to say, here's my blue setting. Okay, where is that at? It's over here. It's under this. Does it look the same? I've got all of these different criteria. Be like, oh, okay, I'm missing this, or I want to have this setting. Once you've got that set up, then you just simply need to have to just save it. I don't want to get too much into that because I've already covered it. For me, I've done 10,000 videos. It feels like I've done these a million times, but I know that sometimes you're just seeing it for the first time. And so I want to continue to just have lots of repetition so that you can get over this learning curve pretty quickly. Now, let's talk about one of the other functions here, and that is on this screener page. Okay, now the screener setting, this is a little bit more not quite as active, because we can still do things from this page, go to the individual charts, but it's really just understanding what stocks that we're looking for. Now, we've gone through that where we've set up our muscle stocks group. Again, our muscle stocks, we just name them that because it tells us the kind of stocks that it is. Stocks that have performed 20%, 25% or better in the last 3 months, $3 or higher, average volume is 100,000. Our CCI 20, it's above that, and our 2,200 period moving averages, the price is also above that. So those are the characteristics of 136 stocks. Okay, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for what are the characteristics of this group, and that group are named muscle stocks. Okay, now if you recall, those of you that are coming from the old TradersPro software, there are some other functionalities as far as the screening settings. Now, that's what I want to talk about here. If I were to say, I want to find muscle stocks that are only in certain sectors, any of these tabs here are addable and deletable, meaning that if I were to click on this setting and go down, I can remove that. Okay, if I reset it, it's just going to take it back to blank, but I can remove it if I want it, or I can add it if I want it. So if you've got a bunch that are here that you're not using, just click it and oh, that one you can't, but this one, and remove it. This one, you go down and you remove that. But if I want to add some additional criteria, then I can click on this. I've already got my settings. I can click on add. And let's say, for example, I want to look at growth. Okay, and I want to look at the EPS growth for this group of stocks. Okay, and there's a couple of different choices. We're just going to go with the trailing 12 months. TTM is the trailing 12 months of our EPS. If we add that in there, now we can add some of those different criteria. If I want to do it manually, or if I want to use these settings, obviously they're just going to have, let's do 10% right here and see. That took us down now from 100 and whatever that was to 58. So it's an additional filter that you can say, I don't want so many stocks, 120, and I only want stocks that have, EPS growth of 10% or higher. Most of the time we're looking for 25% or higher. Now you're really getting the stocks that we really want to look for, and that is a stock that has had performance in the share price, but also the company is performing as well. The earnings per share of the company are now in addition to the share price, and this ultimately is typically why stocks move. In the longer term, you want to see a stock that is making money, because that and growing fast and making a lot of it fast, because that's going to be pure true demand. You're going to have hedge funds, institutional buyers are going to be chasing after those earnings by buying the stock. In some cases, you get stocks that have not earned any money yet, but they're anticipated to earn. A new technology, all of these quantum computing stocks and a lot of the AI stocks, none of them are even making any money yet. And so, but the prices are being bought into, are being bid higher because of the expectation that they are going to be earning money. Okay, so from here, you could say, I just want to save this. So I could do a save as, and then I could save that I could rename it entirely and just say, muscle stocks, EPS 25% or greater. Okay, and then you can save that. Now, when you go into your drop down, you're going to have that additional setting or that specific custom screen saved for yourself for whatever you want. Now you could say, okay, which one of these pay dividends do I have? Let's remove that one. Let's add dividends, and let's just say we have, let's just go with the dividend yield. Okay, and let's say that dividend yield is 2% or higher. There's two stocks now. So we've got muscle stock characteristics here. We've got earnings characteristics here. We've got a dividend characteristic here now as well. Okay, that's the filter. That's just the filtering process of starting with the kinds of stocks that we want to focus on. Number one, these uptrending stocks. Number two, we could say I want an uptrending stock that's growing fast. EPS is growing fast, and they're paying a dividend on top of that. Well, our selection is getting pretty small, but we've got AROC in here actually, which we just highlighted yesterday. It's a nice looking setup. I'm actually going to come over to this setup right here, and so this is the pattern setup for not for AROC. It moved me back to this, so then we'll come back to this. But that's not the symbol either. What was the symbol? AROC, it was the symbol. So let's add this in. So you can see here now we got a good confirmation bar. 2 days ago was the actual buy signal. That's when it did show up inside of our new buy scan down here. And now we're just getting continued follow through. Okay, it's in the oil field service space and continuing to get advancement. So if you're looking for that kind of characteristic, the numbers are going to be a lot smaller because you're filtering down into something that you may be more interested in, or the type of quality of name that you're actually looking for. And that's, if they're paying a dividend and their earnings per share are growing financially, that's a quality type. Those are quality type characteristics that you're getting something that's not going away. And potentially you're getting something that could have some nice growth here as well. So those are a couple things. Now I don't want to save that because unless I'm saving it as a new setting. So I'm going to go in and just remove those out, and then that took us back to 133 names. Okay, so those are some of the settings that you can focus on, and you can do the same thing. So if I have a hold setting, no, I don't want to save that. Remember that the hold setting are looking for stocks that are, let's pull one up right here and say, that's not a good one because that's a buyout. Some of those at the upper end of that range do get that. Let's look at the chart real quick. Okay, remember you can click on this chart setting. So that was the first one we clicked on. This is the next one down here that's also kind of that's had a buyout. So we want to look for some price patterns that have maybe had some pullback. Let's look at this one right here and look to see. Okay, this one now is a new buy as of today. Okay, so it's gonna filter back into that new buy, even though we're looking at the hold signal. You're getting some stocks that are starting to move out of that range, and so that can also be a place to be able to start to look for stocks that are in compression, starting to move out of compression in that trend. When I say compression, I'm talking about the compression of the trend characteristics on this 60-minute time frame. Okay, and the daily is also giving me a nice confirmation bar. Do I want to trade that one yet? This methodology is wait for tomorrow, but if you can do whatever you want. Okay, it's just we want to try and create some structure so that you are following some structure, but as you get more and more comfortable with what you're doing, you can say, oh, okay, I really like that one. I'm fine buying that right now. I'm fine doing that, setting up that criteria for a trade today. So there's various different ways to look for some of the settings, and then once you get some of those settings, to just fine tune them just a little bit, to reduce some of the numbers, because there's pretty large numbers. You've got 788 stocks. Okay, in this group, if I wanted to say I only want to find stocks that are that have those criteria and that are in the S&P 500, I can check that box. Okay, that's my index box. Now I've got this group of stocks. And again, this is being sorted by the RSI. Whatever you're going to click on right here, it's going to sort it by that different indicator, or whatever the setting is, and you can add different settings in this column setting here as well. Okay, so the core that we're wanting to focus on is we're focusing on, let me just delete some of these now. I end up getting so many of these windows open. And most of the time, when you're clicking on something and opening up a new window, it opens up, or you're clicking on something, it opens up a new tab, like this screener here. See how that's opening up a new tab? If I went to NVIDIA and opened that up, it's opening up a new tab. So you may end up with a ton of tabs, and that's going to slow down browser speed and different things as well. And it's just, it's kind of annoying. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to show you that when you have multiple tabs open, you can cruise back and forth between some of these settings and say, oh, okay, where's my trade chart setting? Where's my market analysis setting? Where's my whatever I just opened setting? And be like, okay, I don't need that. I'm going to close that down. Now, here I just clicked on that screener. This is that default. When you get this default, you can say, oh my gosh, what do I do from here? Number one, what I would do is I would go through and I would click on all of these and I would remove them. Okay, go through and remove. If it's a brand new chart, and you don't want anything else on there, just remove a bunch of them. Then you can go in and say, I this is not what I want. I don't want market cap right here. Again, so you can add what you do want. Add it in, define what that is, and then ultimately you're going to end up with a screen setting that has your criteria and only the charts that you want, only the settings that you want to look at again in the future. Okay, so this buy tab, if I wanted, I like to keep these here so I can say what sector. Okay, if I want to just look for a group of stocks that are in this sector, now it's going to only pull in all of the stocks with those buy criteria and are in a certain sector. There's 30 of those stocks. Okay, and then I can reset that just to get rid of it. It's going to reset it back to this original. Or I can do industry. If I want to see, are there any of those stocks that are in the aerospace and defense? Be like, oh, okay, there's 18 of those. And KTOS, I think it was that one. Let's have a look here and see. A couple of these are having big runs. Yeah, so there's a big runner too. You're getting some of those kind of names as well. It's a little bit deeper into that trend. It's already had its signal, okay, but I can now go through and I can say, oh, that's some of the list. That's the strongest one based on RSI. Okay, RSI is similar to rank in that it is relative strength index. It's relative in the last 14 days to the entire market is one of the strongest stocks in that group. 75. That's not as high as it can go. RSI can go all the way up to 99, 100, but typically doesn't. In most cases, we're seeing this range. So that's your setting. One of the ways to be able to start out and set this up. Now, if I wanted to go through one other thing here. If I were to delete this and say, let's just go back to this index and say, I want Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks. I want these 7 stocks because they're buy. and I want to add those into a watch list over here. So I could do a couple of different things. If I have a watch list and I've got, something here, let's see if I've got one that we'll just add it to this one. Yeah, let's go through. Let's add. I wonder if it'll let me into this one. So I've got one that's called deleted symbols still. Okay, now I can do a couple things. Number one, I can right-click the symbol and it'll say add to watch list. Okay, and so it's got my, does it have deleted symbols? No. Okay, that's obviously not that's not a watch list. So let's just go in. Whatever watch list you've created, let's just do it to the TradersPro one right now, and then I'll go back out and delete it so it doesn't get too sloppy. But I can right-click it, add it to my watch list, to my TradersPro watch list. There it is over here. Now, if I want to, put that in a different spot so that I can keep an eye on it, or one of the things I can do here is I can say I want the whole group. So I can click on this drop down, not that drop down, this drop down, and I can export the results. Okay, and it's going to pull out and it's going to pull them into a spreadsheet. Okay, and depending on the spreadsheet that you're using, unfortunately it exports it with all of these, and the import doesn't need that. So one of the things you can do is just delete all that, delete all this, and that now you've just got these symbols. You can do file, you can do save as. Okay, you can just, where is my save as? You can go file, save as, by list right there, comma delineated, that's fine. So we got to remember this name right here. Now we'll come back into this and I can say add, rather click the drop down, and I can say I want to create a new list or import a list. Okay, if I'm importing a list, it's going to pull up that group, and it's probably saved it to my documents. Let's go right here, and I forgot where I saved that actually. So if I have the, let's see. Let's come back to this. Okay, this will be good because we want to file. We want to do a save as, and it's like, dang, I forgot where I saved that thing. Okay, so then I can be like, oh, this is where I'm saving it. This PC, maybe that's not where I want to save it. Maybe I want to save it in a different location. Okay, so make sure you're paying attention to where that's being saved. Okay, and we can go back here and we can add, if we wanted to search that document, I think it was by here. Sorry, that's not very helpful. I just saved it in the wrong spot. I'm going to skip over that for now just so we can continue on. Okay, that importing into the watch list, make sure you're saving it, know where it's saved, import that file back into the into your watch list. Now that's going to change, and so a lot of times it doesn't make sense to create a new watch list if you can just customize the scan. Okay, save the screen so that now it's these. If you're looking for these characteristics, no matter what, you don't need a watch list for it. Now, if you were to save it and be like, these are my Dow buy stocks. If I were to go here and I were to do a save as and say, buy Signal Dow, I could save that, and now this is going to be in my drop down. Okay, I've got the buys, but it's like, oh, I really wanted those Dow stocks. I can do that here. Now it's going to add that in. Okay, for me, I don't always want that, and so I want to have this one that I can have sector, or excuse me, index, and then I can go to Dow, and then I can just remove it. Okay, I can just reset it, and so then it doesn't clutter up all of your screen criteria. Okay, so a couple of ideas as far as functionality there on saving your material, saving your content, making it so that it's not super messy, and really just the saving of the screens is going to be the most effective and the most efficient. You can do the same thing here on this screen. Okay, I could say all of my new buys. So let's say I have buy signals here. My filter is filtered out my index. So if I wanted to have the Dow Jones Industrial Average here, okay, now I'm going back. Now here's some of the stocks. So we've already dropped one of those, dropped out. Okay, but now I can have triple M here. So again, making sure that you're using these screen settings, and you saw just kind of how cumbersome creating a watch list might be out of this group. Just save the scan. I keep saying scan, screen. It's same thing. It's a filter. It's a screener. This is what we're looking for is these screener. I'll try and call it what it is here. Stock screener, and that is for Triple M. You've got Chevron. You've got JP Morgan. Okay, these are your Dow stocks. So if you want to just focus on stocks that are new buy signals or buy signals, muscle stock group, and in the Dow, then you keep your main criteria settings. And again, the criteria for those screen settings are here, and then you can set those up and go back. I can say, okay, now I've got the Dow set up. Notice that there's a little icon right here, star, ampersand, or whatever that thing is called. That means it hasn't been saved because I've made some changes to my original setting right here. I have this as the Dow. Okay, if I don't want that, and if I just refresh the page, or if I change that back, if I get rid of this Dow by checking this, it should take that away. It did. It took it away because now it's back to the original settings, and it's saying, oh, you didn't make any changes, so you don't need to save anything now. You're back to your original settings. Okay, these are, as you're getting in and as you're using this, some of these are going to start to really become a lot more natural, particularly when we're focusing on just the same methodology, the same group. We're looking at muscle stocks. That's going to be a larger list. Okay, we got a larger list of stocks because there's a lot more in that criteria. None of them have had a trigger on top of that. Whereas the buy, neither of those are already in the buy signal. The difference between the buy and the muscle stocks is really just that trigger signal, the CCI 20 and the SMA 20 and 200. So it's just the trend. Where are they at in the trend is the only difference between the muscle stock group and the buy group. There's a lot larger number here because this is just pure price movement based on the trigger, based on the signal. Where is it at in the trend versus is it already in an upward trend as well? And so again, just to kind of rehash, starting with your Discord, start here. If you're confused on where do I go, just follow the steps. Make sure you've got your TradingView account set up. There is a basic account in there. I've had a few questions that people are not finding that, but sometimes if it's just username, password, set that up. It starts out as the basic plan, and you can set that up with the basic plan where you have the account set up, but there's no cost, there's no fees to that on the basic plan. There are other plans that as you want more and more features inside of TradingView that you can add into as well. The essential plan is also works really nicely for what we're doing. From here, then you can be like, I just forgot, I forgot the methodology, or I forgot where the indicators are. How the heck do I add those indicators? Or how do I get the chart layouts or the screens? Just come back here, start with this. Understand that, get familiar with this layout, the functionality, setting up the screens, going over here, where's my buy signal? You're going to find out which one you end up being the most comfortable on. Open screens here. If I don't want that, I can just get rid of it. Yes, I want to delete it. So now I'm just back to the original ones that I've got, and I want to just stick with muscle stocks. And then I kind of want to use this chart layout right here to keep an eye on which ones are doing anything today. Oh, that's too short. Also, if you notice that sometimes it looks like, man, this looks different than it normally does, make sure that you double check right here because this is the 5-day. I typically want to have the 6-month time frame. And I don't know why this doesn't save. Maybe that'll be something that is added a little bit down the road. But those settings, that's what I want to see. I want to see that 6-month time frame here. Now each of these bars are 1 day. Instead of down here, the 5-day, these are hourly charts or 15-minute. It doesn't even tell you, I don't think, honestly. So I want to keep the 6-month time frame. And then I can keep a glance on which ones are moving or any of these moving. Again, this is the muscle stock. There's no triggers on these yet. And so I want to see, okay, LG, some of these are starting to move. Natural gas stocks starting to move. Oil stocks starting to move. And I can go through and I can look at that process. Then I can go into here and I can look at some of these names. Go back to my buys, go back to my muscle stocks. I want to keep it on new buys here. And because those are coming in during the day. Okay, you're going to filter. Some of these are going to be new buy signals as of right now, and so you may be able to see which ones you're looking for. Again, if you get a big gap, it's just a buyout. It's going to end up cluttering up some charts for a little bit of time. And then you've also got FARO, which is in that new buy. So at the end of the day, we're going to be looking at these and saying which ones had the move for the day. That's your solid confirmation bar. Okay, so at the close, then these are probably going to be some of the ones we're going to be looking at for tomorrow's entries based off of the new buy list. Now, markets are trading down and they continually are trading lower, so we're not getting very many in here. And that's just a part of these market conditions. There's just not a lot of stocks that are creating new buy signals. I'm going to take this back to that daily time frame here as well. And again, if you get these settings, remember that, and they end up being messed up down here at the bottom. This little scroll to the most recent bar that takes me to here, and then the A is going to balance those out on the chart. I still don't want it quite like that. So there is sometimes a little bit of change that you've got to make to get it back to the settings that you like to see. And then in that case, I will save it if it's back to the original settings that I want. But these market conditions being a little bit weaker, kind of a flat day today, not a whole lot moving, a handful of stocks that are in that new buy list. There may be more by the end of the day. But that's really what I wanted to cover for you today. That's to just get most familiar with that process. Okay, from there, once you're familiar with that process, with the indicators, the chart windows, the stock screens, and then you're really narrowing down to the actual trade execution and managing some watch lists and managing your paper trading as well, or linking that up to your brokerage account. Also, again, in that paper trading account, if you are logged out of that, it's going to give you all these different choices. So if you go to the trading panel, okay, now this trading panel is going to say, oh, I want to paper trade this one, or no, I want to link this one up to my Webull account. So I would click on that and I would connect it. Again, it's pretty simple. It just adds the username, password, and there's a lot of choice there as far as linking up brokerage accounts. But your paper trading also is right there. So your trading panel. So if I had this closed like this, and now I'm down here and I'm seeing this information, now my trading panel, it's going to open that up, and that's where I would link up my paper trading here, and I can connect that, or I can connect up my brokerage account also in that. I'm going to end on that note. Thanks, everyone, for your participation, and we'll see you next time. Have a fantastic day today.